GNT Show is intended for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised. These are the voyages of the GNT Show. Our continuing mission to explore Star Trek storytelling, to seek out new worlds and interesting characters, to bold we got where no show has gone before. Live long and prosper, bitches.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the G&T Show, episode 214. I'm Terry Lynn.
Uterus. Good morning, Jolan True. How is everybody this morning? There she is to my left, your right, wearing her T-shirt, her shirt with the French flag on it in support of those who were affected. Terry Lynn.
Hello.
And there he is to my right, your left. That's interesting. I never thought I'd see Klingon armor with the French flag on it, but somehow he makes it work. Ceridian.
Kabla. And I have my Indonesia wristband.
Oh, nice. Je suis kapla.
Kapla.
How would you say it with a French? How would you say kapla with a French accent?
I'm Klingon. There's only one pronunciation.
No, that's not true. You know there's different dialects. You usually think on the southern part they're all like kapla.
Y'all.
Kapla, y'all.
Kapla, y'all.
Dude, kapla.
That's the western.
That's
the western part of the continent.
SoCal, Californian.
Yeah, totally, dude. Kapla.
Mental image for you. A bunch of Klingons surfing.
That's okay. I'm not
See,
gonna say it.
it's the surfing.
I'm gonna write
walk
that.
away from that one. Terry turns around.
It's the surfing that's not dangerous. It's battling the sharks.
It's Klingons being near water. Oh
No, it's having a leg of tar, strapped to your ankle.
Why? See. Hey, Mike, how's your scientists?
Why don't we introduce our fourth guest first?
Fuck you, dude.
Yes.
What? I did. Just keep going. I don't care.
And there she is, just looking at us with scorn and derision because she's a lawyer. It's Jespa.
Jespa.
Je suis fatigué.
Oh.
Hey, there's ladies here.
I just said I'm tired.
Oh.
Pretty much the entire G&T show sends its love out to all of the victims, families, and friends, not just of France, but all of the terrorism attacks, Beirut, everybody in Lebanon, and also the families in Japan.
Yeah, they had an earthquake, didn't they?
They had a 7.0 earthquake on the same day. So rough week.
It was a big day. Friday was a big day. I mean, Saturday was a big day. We're Friday, right?
It was like Saturday-ish for us.
Yeah.
Really. So yeah, our thoughts are with you all. They really are.
Hey, I did not mean this to be funny when I said it to somebody.
Oh.
And at first they started to give me the too soon, but then they realized it wasn't meant like that.
Oh, okay.
I was like, only these savages and ISIS could make the entire United States go, yeah, all right, we stand with you, France. Because normally it's like,
Well, see, that's the thing about I don't know. I think that's the thing about our relationship with France is
it's always been love-hate.
It's always been just we love each other because we have so much in common, but we're so different
A brother from
how we
another
go about
mother,
it.
sister from another mister.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, and I mean, let's face it, we wouldn't have a country if they hadn't supported us during
That's
the revolution.
exactly right.
Exactly.
But but I don't think people understand the humiliation and the trauma that World War II put on France,
Right.
because they were a world power and then not, but they still saw themselves as a world power after. And if anybody here ever studies de Gaulle, it's a fascinating it's a fascinating study on someone who, if you write characters, someone trying to lead a very battered people and a very beaten people,
Yeah.
which caused them to then
They're no
scorn
less proud. They are
they
no less
were
proud
very
than we are.
humiliated that we had to help them reconstruction wise after the war. You know, the Dutch still are like, hey, America, what's up? But it's just a whole different
Yeah,
mindset.
but look at what they give us.
The
They gave
Dutch?
us dude,
I know.
Amsterdam.
Oh, I know.
Okay,
Love the
whatever.
Dutch.
So
Windmills?
there's not a lot about that whole area of Europe we don't love.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, if anything, that goes to show you how much we alike we really are with France, though. Because if the same had happened to us, do you think
Mhm.
we would be all that happy?
Oh God. You mean
exactly.
World War II? No.
Oh yeah, exactly.
no.
That's what I'm saying.
Well,
Is-
they stood with us in the aftermath of 9/11.
You bet.
And I saw this picture, and I absolutely loved it. I saw it on Facebook. I wish I had saved it. But it's our Statue of Liberty, and they're...
Wearing the backpack?
No.
Oh.
And,
Oh, I saw that one. That was good.
And then standing next to the Statue of Liberty is their... I don't even know what she's called, but their version of the Statue of Liberty. And they're both holding the torch
Yeah.
together.
Oh, wow.
It was
There's,
really nice.
Yeah, the one that I saw that I think Terry saw the same one. It's the Statue of Liberty is coming off of her podium, and she's wearing a military rucksack. And she's like, I'm on my way.
She's coming off the podium in New York, and she's starting to walk across the Atlantic, and it just says, "I'm on my way." So yes, let's talk a little bit about our week.
And of course,
shall
the
we?
Star Trek tie-in is that Jean-Luc Picard is from France.
Okay.
Yes.
Le Havre, right? Wasn't he from Le Havre?
No, he's from Le Bar.
Le Bar, that's right.
Le Havre is the
The
port,
coast.
and Le Bar is in
wine
Provence.
country.
Burton.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, Janet.
Oh,
LeBarber.
Le Barber? The man from Le Barber. That was a great oh, that was La Mancha. Never mind.
and that was Spain.
Moving right along.
Yeah, let's coffee clutch this bitch.
What did you do this week? Coffee Clutch.
All right, Mikey, what'd you do this week?
After 6 failed attempts, I finally beat the Doctor Who level on Lego Dimensions. Oh my god, there's a glitch, and it was so annoying. And finally, I pulled out the internet and I flipped it open to the Lego Dimensions forums, and lo and behold, there was a glitch, and someone had a workaround. So yay, lucky number 7, head desk. Let's see, what else did I do? Oh gosh, let's see. Hours 16 and 17 have been edited, so everything up to that point has been edited and I believe scheduled. So head desk again.
Wow.
Oh man.
You're not done with everything yet?
No. Yesterday I took yesterday I had to take a break. I was like, I have to do the show today, and I
think you need to check your contract, my friend.
Oh.
Some days I just hate you. I just hate you.
You signed the contract. I didn't make you.
No, I want to say thank you. I mean, we have published already hours 8 and 9, I believe, or what?
I think
Are we up
9
that
is
far?
the current one.
9 is the current one.
I think I saw 9 was in there.
Yeah.
So again, if you want to listen to, we're breaking up the 24 hours or 25 hours of G&T, and you can listen to them in 1 or 2 hour snippets.
Only 13. Only 14 more hours to go.
Only 5 billion more hours to go.
And actually, there actually is a temporal anomaly that actually happens before we have 2 hour 11s.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're gonna call it that then? Like hour 11
There's
temporal anomaly?
actually like a 10 and 11, and then there's an 11 temporal anomaly.
Braga!
Which actually
the Braga hour.
And
Braga hour.
A few hours later, the ripples from that event.
Nice.
I
Daniel
remember
shows up.
It was about 4 o'clock our time is when we had a burst of real punchiness, and like we all went through it at the same time, where it just got so silly for about a half an hour. It was like it hit us all at once.
Yeah.
That's when Charo was on.
When Charo was on, right?
with Rip Taylor. With Taylor,
Yes.
At least
his
we didn't have to
confetti
call.
everywhere.
Funny thing, that temporal anomaly, it was actually caused by Scott Pearson and Generations Geek.
That's just perfect.
Yeah,
That's
so.
You know what? That's great. If anybody's gonna cause one, it's that guy. You know why? Because the kid wasn't with him.
That could be. Actually, he wasn't officially on the schedule, so that's why I said I'm gonna go with it with Scott. Blame it on Scott.
Blame it on the Scott. Yeah. Hey, Mike, before I forget,
Yeah.
AwesomeCon has opened up their tickets, so if you want to do the thing for them for press passes,
I will be in contact
sweet.
with them.
And they're gonna have some amazing. They've already announced. Matter of fact, I want to say there's a Trek connection.
Oh?
Let me look.
Well, let's see. Anything else I did this week? This I'm actually kind of proud of. My nephews, they were hanging out with us over the weekend like they normally do, and they're playing video games, and I'll go on and I'll watch something on my computer, and I pulled up the latest episode of Doctor Who, and without missing a beat, they said, "You're watching Doctor Who." As
Nice.
soon as he spoke, and they heard his voice, it was like, "You're watching Doctor Who." I'm so proud.
Oh.
Now, okay, here we go. No, it's not a Star Trek connection, but they've already announced 3 guests. And the show's June 3rd, 4th, and 5th in DC. Burt Ward, of course, Robin from Batman. Morena Baccarin. Oh.
Ooh, nice.
Yes, from Firefly and V.
And Gotham.
Yes, Gotham.
I had to name
Something like
all the DC shows to get there, but I got there.
From one of the current DC shows.
Yeah.
Oh,
Woof.
wow. Hello. And, Terry, you ready?
Yeah?
Adam West.
Oh.
Batman and Robin.
Batman and Robin will be there.
Wow.
And this is already announced. So this convention's going to be its 3rd year.
Holy
4th
dynamic
year?
duo, old chum.
Well played.
Biff, pow, kapow.
Let's see. Yeah, she's also in Heartland, The Good Wife, The Mentalist, Las Vegas, How I Met Your Mother, The OC. Oh, I'm so sorry. And Firefly. Yeah. And I just said the other day, we were talking about something. Oh, I had asked on Twitter if you were casting Zatanna for a DC movie or TV show, and she was who I came up with for Zatanna.
I don't think I know the character, so I...
She's the magician, the one you always see in the top hat and the tails.
Oh, yes. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. What about you, Nick? What'd you do this week?
Work.
Yeah.
It was back at work after the whole tooth ordeal. It
Yes.
was a very weird, odd week at work. Just how you get that feeling in the air. It was like that all week.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate those.
Because we had a bunch of people out sick, and just it was so quiet in the office, and just it was one of those weeks. And we had the holiday in the middle of the week, which just adds an even odder feel to the week.
I agree.
You're Monday and Tuesday, then off Wednesday, and then Thursday and Friday, and it's it's just that weird speed bump in the middle of the week where it just throws everything off.
What about you, Miss Jaspa?
What did I do this week? I did schoolwork. Unfortunately, there was a ton of that, and because the semester be ending soon, and I got myself a little part-timey job to do blogging because I had a free 5 seconds and I had to fill it with something, and of course I also was writing Nano.
Oh my gosh. You have
Nano.
So-
How's your progress on that?
I have 34,000 and change words. I'll blow away 35,000 easily today, and this included writing the argument scene between our divorced captain and her snooty, ridiculous, narcissistic ex-husband, where she yells, Can you cut the usual patronizing crap like you pull all the time? Just because we stopped being married doesn't mean I stopped outranking you.
That's nice.
Right on.
Such a feminazi.
That's right. How cool.
Dayton
That's
is
great.
also doing the nano. Have you been checking out his progress?
I think
Who?
he's he
Dayton?
must be ahead of me.
Dayton.
He just blows away everything because he's always writing.
Well, yes, but on his actual nano project, he's kind of just hanging in there. But he's writing so many other things.
That's because he's writing for like
I don't
money and
think,
shit.
honestly, I don't think any of our author friends they should even try and hold themselves to it. They write so goddamn much. They should have a month where they don't have to write 50,000 words and get paid
pretty
for
much.
it.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, it's a good challenge for people who don't really write often, because it kind of, I write pretty much every day, but I don't necessarily write enough for 50,000 in a month. But it gets you in a habit, kind of keeps you in a habit, but it also gives you a social aspect to what is ultimately a very, very isolating kind of hobby when you think about it.
Right. It is.
Which is why I prefer porn.
I haven't actually done. I haven't been doing nano this year.
Oh my god, are you going through withdrawals?
I'm writing show
Shakes.
notes, and trust
No wonder
me,
Mike's sitting over there scratching his arm so much.
and the show notes that I'm actually
Gotta put a
writing
collar on him.
would put me on schedule to hit
That's
the
true.
50,000 goal.
That's true.
That
Yeah.
is true.
Oh.
Hey, it's
Yes.
writing, Mike. You know.
Yeah, it's writing.
Thank you, Mikey.
No problem. I'm happy to do it.
Nano.
Well, I can tell you right now. I can tell you right now that the state of New Mexico is kind of still partying. They're still
For
they're still
nano.
no, they're still partying. Last night, two very big things happened in sports for New Mexico.
Okay.
Holly Holm beat,
Don't even.
which was a
Do
very
not
big
even.
surprise to me. To me, it was a
To
huge
the
surprise.
world. To the world.
And Holly Holm is a local girl. This is
Oh, is she really?
Oh yeah. Oh, you have no idea. When she was doing boxing,
So
there
that's
wasn't
what's
a day.
happening on Facebook.
Oh yeah, Holly Holm beat Ronda Rousey.
Yet no one mentions that fact.
Rousey had to go to the hospital, Mike. She got caught with the perfect roundhouse, and then the kick to the side of the head.
Yeah.
Which was perfect. I mean, yeah, it was an amazing. Yeah, Terry, I tweeted last night. Batman had his back broken, but he came back stronger. Ronda Rousey will be back and even more fearsome.
No, I thought she was retiring.
Is she?
I heard she was retiring after.
I've heard that people wouldn't be surprised if she was.
Yeah.
Well,
And I think it's
she's
just
been
because
wanting
she
to
wants
do
to
film.
pursue her acting career, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean-
yeah, it's not a surprise to me because she's reached that level now where almost what got her to the level she's at is now almost a hindrance to her moving on.
Yeah. So
She's
that was
Captain
one
Marvel.
big thing. And the other big thing is the University of New Mexico beat Boise State last night, which was a big
Is that
thing.
Alan okay?
That no. That's a very good thing because he hates Boise State. He's an Idaho
okay.
alum. He's not a Boise State
Oh,
alum.
that's right.
He's, what does he call them? The Francos.
Man's got a master's and he's still gonna.
Yeah, you just yelled down the hallway going, "Fuck the Francos."
Oh, Jesus.
So
Okay.
the state of New Mexico is all 1.97 million of us are all pretty much like, yay, something good happened for a state.
Well, I just want to see Ronda Rousey cast as Captain Marvel.
I really don't. I think
I
she
do.
no. I think that she would be. I don't know. My brain
Fantastic.
sees her as a different character now. I don't see her as Marvel. I really don't.
Who would you see her as?
Somebody. It's going to sound very funny, but I never saw Carol as somebody who was, and I know I'm being mean, and Cushman's gonna kick my ass. I don't see Rousey as Air Force. I see her as Army.
No, I get that.
I don't see her as
Tank girl. Wait.
Oh,
No.
see? Yeah.
No.
I see her as somebody much more guttural.
Wait, what? So Janice is guttural?
Who? You're Janice? What are you talking about?
Yes.
What do you mean?
She was in the Army?
No. I'm talking about a character, not the Army.
Oh.
I'm talking about as a character who's much more. I want to almost say strong. I want to say I don't know. God, if they ever remade, I just see her more special ops than I do as a.
See her more like a SHIELD type thing?
Yeah, in a big way, big way.
Like if Adrian Palicki wasn't playing Mockingbird.
You bet your ass, I would see her in that role.
God, Adrian Palicki. Oh my God.
I know. So I would see her as something similar to. So I see Ronda Rousey's kind of character and drive as being far more kind of special ops and maybe even Navy SEAL than I do as pilot. And Carol was a pilot, so
Yeah. What is this?
All right.
Yes, we know. Katie Sackhoff, we know.
Well, I love her. She would be awesome. However, I think I don't know. I don't think she's being. I would love that. I would really love that. But that's
she's expressed a desire to play.
I don't blame her. Talk about just fucking awesome. If they remade G.I. Jane with Rhonda, yeah. Oh yeah. Except they would have to have a different ending. I don't know. If they ever do a movie about the two new Rangers, that'd be cool too. So let's get the show started because we actually have a lot to talk about.
Well,
What? What? He was going to say something and he held himself back.
No, there was something I wanted to. Oh, here it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's going to put it in the chat room? I don't know. We have dead air. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
La 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 la. I'm waiting for Nick to do something, but I don't know what it is.
There you go. It's in the chat room.
Magic tricks don't work over chat.
Oh. You know what?
As Ms. Marvel?
Ms. Marvel? Maybe. Yeah. I like it. Although
I don't know who did that, but first of all, that's a lot of time, and that's a big fan.
That's a big fan. And beautiful work.
Which one is Ms. Marvel?
On the right and left.
Right and the left.
And Captain Marvel is in the center.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah,
so Robert,
the Captain Marvel, Ms. Marvel thing gets confusing.
It does. But so Robert, you were asking the characters Ms. Marvel is on the left and on the right. It's the kind of lightning bolt costume. The one in the middle is Captain Marvel, which is actually how do we say it? An evolution of a character that kind of already existed.
She got promoted.
Yeah, because it was a man before.
It was a man before, and Carol, who was Ms. Marvel, right?
Yes.
Wait. Kind of takes
Carol
over
Danvers was Ms. Marvel. Now it's Kamala Khan.
And that right. And I love her.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get started with some Star Trek news.
Yes.
What's new in the Star Trek universe? General news.
So we have some. Mike, you pick one and start with it. Let's do it. You pick one.
Time to spin the wheel o segments.
Yeah, no shit.
Well, I'll just start at the top. Product news.
I need more Star Trek stuff. Product news.
All right.
And there's a cool barbecue set.
Oh,
see what I did there, Q?
I want to see that barbecue. Yes, I want to open this Microsoft. Thank you. It's not dangerous. I want to see what you're talking about.
It's kind of snazzy.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, Star Trek The Next Generation barbecue set. The spatula is in the shape of the Enterprise D. They've got a set of tongs and...
is that a Cardassian fork?
It is.
It looks like it, doesn't it?
That is fucking awesome.
Yeah, it is.
And the tongs are what?
They're
it's
like
hard to
Delta
tell.
skewers is what it says. 4 Delta.
No,
okay.
those are the skewers. Those are like the ones see her over there on the right. That's where like your big shish kebabs.
And then it goes on to say Delta tongs.
Yeah, the tongs on the left.
Oh, the tongs are Delta as well. Okay.
And it comes. It looks like it comes in a nice little steel case. It looks like.
Okay, that's cool.
So, for all your barbecuing needs,
Oh, those are great.
I like it.
They're a good looking set.
That is a good looking set. And the spatula is probably pretty freaking awesome. I love how wide it is.
Uh-huh.
That's cool. What else do you got? What else is there? Oh my God, that's so cute. I love that. I want those tongs. I would buy those tongs separately, like 8 of them.
Well, this isn't exactly a product, although it talks about a product.
Okay.
Our friend Kevin Dillmore, he interviews the sculptor Lynn Norton, and they talk about the history of Star Trek keepsake ornaments. So it's about a product, but not really.
No, it's about products. It's about licensed products. For those who didn't know, one of our authors, and how does Dayton? What's his title for him? His
hetero
life mate.
Kevin Dillmore, from another mother.
Works for Hallmark Cards. He's a writer for Hallmark, and also works at their booths at like Comic-Con and New York Comic-Con. And of course, as you can imagine, is always knee deep in the in handling the Star Trek stuff and the writing for the Star Trek ornaments. So it's kind of neat to see him interview Lynn Norton, who has been. I'm a collector. I collect Hallmark ornaments and have for going on 30 years now. And
you have a whole second tree's worth.
I do have a whole second tree's worth. We have 2 trees in our house, and so all of our we have one tree that's kind of now dedicated to flight, and we have a few airplanes, not a lot, but mostly space flight. So we have NASA ornaments, Star Wars ornaments, and Star Trek ornaments on it.
Nice.
And then all of the big globes, all of the ornaments, the round ornaments, all look like planets or stars. So we have our space tree on one side, and then we have the more traditional tree on the other. So I love them. They're very cool. But Lynn Norton is one of their most famous sculptors. So that's cool. I do have another piece of product that I think, Mike, you may want to have a towel handy.
Oh, God. I do, by the way.
Okay.
And it's not a ShamWow.
I don't know. I don't want to know why, but hey.
Well, Entertainment Earth has announced that coming in April 2016, they are going to be offering full-size replicas of the Bat'leth, but they're foam. But they don't look like they're foam.
So I can give these to the boys. Send them out in the front yard and have them
poke each other's eyes out. Yeah.
Yes.
I love the warning that Entertainment Earth has. It says, bring Worf's baddest battle blade. This sword has been forged by the fires of the Klingon heart. Soft foam construction reduces accidental High Council mishaps. Sword unable to actually defeat Duras in combat.
Perfect.
It's for training uses only.
It's for training. It's a training Bat'leth. That's exactly right.
That is sweet.
I thought you would appreciate that. I loved this because it looks like the one. It looks real.
It looks like the one that you paid.
It's on my dining room table.
$300 for.
Yeah.
Roddenberry. Yeah.
Right.
That's awesome. I'll take 2, please.
I started to get a little bit nervous. Matthew Anderson posted a picture of IDW Starfleet Academy.
Yeah, and there's a couple things to talk about that, and including that picture that he shared. So, do you want to jump to
books?
Sure, we can go to books.
Let's jump to books.
Tell me a Star Trek story. Book news.
All right. So Matthew Anderson posted a picture of IDW Starfleet Academy, and yeah. So who else saw this and thought, oh shit, this is our next TV series?
Well,
yeah.
I don't mind if it is. I really don't. It's one of those things where if it's done well, then I can't complain. If it's done shitty, then I can complain.
I guess my concern is, I mean, I never have been a fan of angst drama, especially young teenage angst drama. I mean, oh my God, I am.
It's as if the only people who have angst are young. You know what I mean?
Well, they just have more of it for no reason. And here's the thing: they have more of it for useless reasons. I remember.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so do I. You know, your anxiety level is
we
off the
so
charts.
Self-important.
Oh God, yes.
That's really my whole thing. Is I just don't want to end up. I just really don't want to end up with a Star Trek show that doesn't deal with, I don't mind. You know what? Damn it. If you're going to do a political Star Trek show, set it in Paris and give me some adult characters. If you want to do a Star Trek West Wing or even a House of Cards type of thing, fucking set it in Paris. Give me adult characters.
Or if you're going to do an Academy one, do it from the instructor's point of view.
Yeah.
Ooh, there's an idea.
Because then you can have flashbacks to when they were out on a ship or at a station or something, and that kind of thing, or they get called away kind of thing. Because I've known more than a few officers who were instructors at West Point, and some of their stories are awesome.
I bet. And I guess that's the thing, is really at the end of the day, what are their concerns really going to be?
And that
Except
also
for,
allows
oh my God, I totally have to pass this test.
And that also allows, because then you can have the angst part of dealing with students who are freaking out because they've got, remember, like Wesley, I've got this test and that test and this going on.
Yes.
And I've got pilot training and all of this. But you've also got the added comedy side of looking at it from the instructor's point of view.
Right. I don't know. I think I'm just a little bit nervous on the release of this, especially with the rumors going around. Now I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm really hoping I'm right, just because again I really just don't care. And that's the thing. I really don't give a shit about their idea of what these people went through the Academy. I really don't.
Yeah.
Because I knew them afterwards, and everybody knows that what happens afterwards, and these aren't even the same characters, right? If we're going to see an Academy, it's going to be J.J. Verse.
I want to see something more progressive, something a lot more in the future, I
agree.
I hate to say it, but I'm tired of Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, or whoever the third person in that trio.
I'm with you.
I love Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, but I want to see something new, something different, something that adds more to the universe rather than just kind of rehash a small corner of it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
By the way, I did post the link for some of the rumors that are going around about the new TV show regarding Starfleet Academy, so we don't have to talk about that later.
Okay. Yeah, we'll just tack that on there. Yeah, there are some rumors. Although I have to say that article, Mike, is that the one that pissed me off because he just pulled it out of his ass? Okay.
Yeah.
That article really did piss me off because one of the things, again, that I'm going to ding people on is, look, we talk about rumor in general from what we see from across the internet. And I will tell you, look, this is part of the reason, this is where we're pulling out our information, is we give you links. We tell you this is where we're pulling our information from. Now, we're also going to tell you how bad or good the reliability of those links really are. Mm-hmm. And in this particular case, there's this one where he's the one who's saying that there's a bunch of rumors that the show is going to be based on the Academy years.
The rumors came from his best friend, who happens to be a dog.
Yeah, pretty much. He doesn't tell you where the rumors are coming from. Because to be honest with you, the first time I ever heard of it was from this particular column. So I wanted to make sure that everybody knew that, well, this guy says there's rumors out there. I'm not exactly sure how thick and true they really are, because it's just this one person we've been able to determine has written anything about said rumors so far.
Yeah.
So I'm still of the hope that when they say set in the future, that they're not just yanking our chain and saying, well, it's set in 2167.
Yeah. 2016.
Exactly.
It's the future, damn it.
It's the future.
Well, I've heard a rumor and that the new series, and I'm getting this from a very, very close insider, that the series is set on Romulus and it will be all Romulan based. Hey, if it's good enough for them to do, it's good enough for me to do.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
From a very reliable source.
Very reliable
Very
source.
reliable.
It was me after 27 hours of no sleep.
See, there you go.
At least.
We do have a couple more tidbits of book news.
Yeah, good.
The first one we've already talked about on the show, but I think it's worth noting that now they've got like a little 20-second commercial, like video commercial for it.
Yeah, of the costume book.
No.
Oh, which one?
For it's Strange New Worlds fan fiction contest.
Oh, okay, cool. I didn't realize that. I thought that it was just an announcement on print again. Very cool.
There's actually a video now. Well, it's music and a still photo, but it's a video nonetheless. But so yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. Actually, that didn't go to the chat room.
Yeah, it didn't.
There we go.
Nope.
Chat room has been kind of crashing on me, so that's odd.
Yeah.
Yeah, try again.
Uterus. In additional book news, I finished Star Trek Titan Sight Unseen last night.
Nice.
I piled through the last 100 pages, and it has now become my new favorite Titan novel, which is saying something because Nick, I have to say you will be thrilled with it because it ends up being more of a Christine Bale book than a Riker book.
Well, he can,
Nice.
he can try all he wants, but he's still no Kirsten.
So, when she takes over as captain of the Titan.
Thank you, Matt. That's the video right there.
Thank you.
I was trying to share it, and for some reason it just would not go.
It's okay. It's okay. So it still has a lot of Riker. Don't get me wrong, but the fact is, Christine's captain now, and she's making the big calls, and she has to make a few of them. I'm trying not to spoil anything.
Now
because,
I see Ronda Rousey as Christine Bale.
Huh. I can't wait for you to read this book, Nick, because I want your take on the new first officer.
All right.
Last bit of book news that I have.
Oh, okay. Well, before we go, I was going to say before that.
Okay.
I don't want to be spoilerish, but we see the departure.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, we see, and I cried. I was so upset.
Shocker.
So there is a death of a character, and one departs the ship, and I'm sad. So damn it, Swallow.
So Torvik leaves and White Blue's killed.
No and no.
You're doing it questioningly.
I think we were closer to home. Maybe some of the details were wrong, but I think we were a little too close to home from the reaction.
Torvik lives and stays on the ship. Okay, so Torvik lives, stays on the ship. That's a spoiler I don't mind giving away.
Okay.
So White Blue, something happens to.
And another character from the very beginning of the book that I really, 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 really liked. As a matter of
this
fact,
book or the series?
the series.
Oh, so Dr. Ree.
Let's put it this way.
Terry would have thrown the book across the...
No shit.
She would have had to go out and buy a new iPad.
Let's put it this way. In my fan fiction, this character ends up being like the babysitter for the kids.
I'm just picturing Terry sitting reading. Something happens. Dr. Ree gets killed. And it's just all done like silently. She gets in the car, drives to the airport, buys a ticket, flies to London, gets in the cab, finds Swallow, knocks on the door. He opens the door. She smacks him in the face and then just flies home.
That's exactly what I would do. That's exactly what I would do.
Don't even say anything.
Huh?
Yeah, no,
I wouldn't.
Sad.
I would just slap him.
Just come over.
Turn around, walk away. Yeah.
He walks away, his mouth hanging open. He's like, "Who the hell was?"
He knows what he did. He knows what he did.
Oh yeah.
That's exactly. He knows what he did. No, it's a bridge character too. I mean, so there's a
shit. I'm trying to remember who the bridge characters are because there's been.
And speaking of Mr. Swallow,
yes,
Tuvok.
No.
The cover for his next book, Star Trek TOS, the Ladder Fire, by James Swallow, has been released I can't put it in the chat room.
It's
Well,
okay. I might be able to. Let's see what we got.
Here, I'll put it in.
Mike
Oh,
walking in
no.
and out of the chat room.
I just shared it privately with amongst us. So that's the link. So you can check out if someone can
Oh,
share
it's a Facebook link. Okay. Oh,
Yes.
that's pretty. Let me see if I can do it. Copy, paste a room. There we go. Okay. So, that's pretty. A new TOS book too.
Yeah.
I love his. I just love his Titan. He just gets it. He just gets it. Although I do have to say, it was the scariest book. The Sight Unseen was the scariest book Star Trek book I had ever read. It scared the fuck out of me in the very end. And again, in that perfect kind of Stephen King kind of way. He really. I had to close the book. Set it down, get up, and walk away from it. Remind myself I'm not there, and then pick it back up again.
You know that Geico commercial with the 4 idiots running from the killer, and they're like, "No, let's hide behind the chainsaws."
Yeah,
Have you seen?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know the face the killer makes? That's the face I'm making right now when Terry says that.
And there's a
can read
trio.
books. Yeah.
Isn't there like a trio of characters that some of us might find familiar?
Yes, there are. Oh, in Inside Unseen.
Yes.
Yes. One of the this isn't being very spoilery. One of the things that happens at the very onset of the book, within like the first 10 pages, is the disappearance of the USS White Tree. And the USS White Tree is for all intent and purpose, is a cadet ship, right? So it's full of cadets. Captain Minetti is in charge of all these cadets.
As it should be. Cadet, come to the ready room.
It's like
It's time
wrangling
for your
cats.
counseling.
Again, start your counseling. Oh my God, Nick, you're a ledge. And Mike and engineer
Andorian women
Chief
first.
Medeiros. Yeah, Chief Medeiros is one of the crew members of the White Tree, and then there's Dr. Shull, who we do know survives at the end of the book. I can say, but unfortunately, Minetti doesn't make it. But
And I'm MIA still, apparently.
and all I have to say is it involves.
There it is in the chat room. That's my face when Terry says that.
Isn't that
Hell
also
yeah,
your,
that's
your
perfect.
creeper
That's
face when you
Yeah.
Perfect.
when you
Like,
photobomb?
No, that's got too much expression.
Oh.
So the White Tree and they're helping out a new species that's on the verge of joining the Federation. They're new. They've just discovered warp capabilities, and they have these very unique ships, which I really like because they're kind of organic. Those two ships kind of get sucked into a subspace anomaly, and then the clicking starts.
The captain only has one counseling schedule for today. It's a Vulcan. Oh, understood. Understood. No wonder
Correct.
Dr. Scholl's outside with the IVs.
The rest of the day is spent in Tin 4 drinking heavily.
Probably.
Yeah.
Just doing breathing exercises.
So yeah, the
Actually,
clicking
that would be
starts.
after an Andorian more than a Vulcan.
Oh, there you go. That's almost like Klingon, just throwing shit at each other. So yeah, it's
Rawr.
a fantastic book, but very, very scary because to me, they're one of the scariest enemies that Star Trek's ever created is the Solanae, and they come back in big time in this book.
I agree with that. Although zombie Vulcans are pretty up there too. But
Yeah, but they're just zombie Vulcans
Yeah.
because they snort insulation, man. I don't know.
Fiberglass? What?
God damn it!
Trillium.
Asbestos.
Trillium.
Space asbestos.
Space is best.
Space asbestos. It's pretty much it. It's like, oh, let's put this asbestos on the walls of our ship, and oh wow, what do you know? That smells pretty good.
Okay,
Shit for
I
Tony
now
Montanas.
have the I just want to see Star Trek ambulance chaser right now. Have you been injured in a Trillium accident?
Star Trek Scarface. Joe fucking cockroach.
Hello to my little feather friend.
Everybody look at the bad guy.
Oh.
My first officer can't have kids because our womb's polluted.
Oh my God. Well, we do have, and so pick a
More
couple
news.
more. We do have, well, let's pick a couple more because we want to get to our new segment.
Yes. Well, might as well. We started it already, so might as well finish it. I have one more piece for TV news.
Grab the remote. Star Trek's on. Television news.
Great.
Okay, so copy. There we go. All right. So, the Trek Corps had posted a little bit of an article about the reasons behind why CBS decided to put the new Star Trek on All Access.
Right.
And it's because everybody wants Star Trek. Everybody on all of these different streaming services wants Star Trek, and it's like, well, if we're going to, give Star Trek to these people, we might as well get our hands on it first. So I think it's a brilliant move. I mean, they can eventually deliver new Star Trek to these other these other streaming services after the fact. Get a season or two under their belt, then say, hey, here you go.
Did you happen to save that link from fool.com that I sent you about Disney's move?
Yes.
Okay. I think it goes hand in hand with this.
It is.
Everybody wants you.
So.
It was. It's part of the general news.
Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay, cool. So I think it kind of goes hand in hand with the continuous concerns, and I'm being nice, posted by a lot of Star Trek fans on social media about their particular unhappiness with the idea that the new Star Trek series will be put onto a streaming service as opposed to network television. And their only argument, and I am being cruel there, their only argument is the same argument that we hear from gamers. Oh my God, they're just taking our money. Sorry.
Sorry, they're getting paid either way. It's either so either we're going to be forced to watch commercials.
Well, we will be still. Don't. I don't want people to think that we're going to be going ad free here, because I can tell you right now that ain't going to happen. They're going to still sell ads.
Oh yeah, but I mean, the idea of with
they just want more money.
I want product placement.
Oh God. Well, we already had that in all the Star Trek movies, so I don't understand why that's any different.
Sir, it's the Tholians they're attacking.
Let's pull out our Nokia
Shields
phones.
up! Someone bring me a Pepsi.
No, the captain is drinking a Starbucks when the Tholians attack, and he tosses it over his shoulder.
I think you cracked Alan up with that one. So
I don't like this cup. It doesn't have a Cardassian symbol on it.
It's Bajoran. The Bajorans get all messed up because there's a war on what's their holiday?
You know what? I was just
the Gratitude Festival.
There's a war on the.
There's no gratitude.
Sir, I'm detecting Tholian vessels in the vicinity. That reminds me, I have to get a K diamond for my wife for our anniversary. Every kiss begins with K. Wink.
That's coming from the android over his shoulder, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, too funny. It is. So it's been pretty funny. I give gamers a lot of grief for this, especially in free-to-play games. And the reason why I do this is because there is a pervasive attitude amongst many gamers that a free-to-play game shouldn't cost them any money whatsoever. And technically it doesn't. It's just that if they want some of the fun stuff, you actually have to pay for it. So ships, and in Star Trek Online, ships and costumes and, keys. Oh, keys. Oh my God, remember when they first came out with the lock boxes? Oh dear God, you would have thought that it was the end of the fucking world. Oh my God, they're just trying to... And the words
all
were...
10 people of them complained.
It was all 10 people were like... All 10 people. All the bad attitude came out is they're nickel and diming us to death. All right. The fact of the matter is businesses don't go into business to lose money. Deal with it. They are there to make as much money as possible for their shareholders. Once again, giving the lesson that I've been giving since I was on fucking UGC with
wow, time warp.
I seriously that how many times do we have to yell at people going, what? These are public companies, folks. Well, Perfect World isn't anymore. Be that as it may, they're still there to make money for their boss.
Oh, before I forget, and I know this is a total,
Squirrel.
I was watching a movie this weekend, and we're talking about Kardashians and all of that.
Yeah.
Casey Biggs showed up in it.
Oh.
Have you heard of the film Too Big to Fail?
Yes, I have.
He plays the head of Wells Fargo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, Casey Biggs! And Casey Biggs in a room.
And your heart did the thumpy, thumpy, thumpy?
With John Hurt,
He's so
Paul
handsome.
Giamatti,
Oh, my God.
Matthew
Nice.
Modine, the guy that played Monk. I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
Tony Shalhoub.
Yeah, Tony Shalhoub. I think it's Bill Pullman. Just like the acting power in this scene is, and then I so have to remember to ask him at the convention about that because and William Hurt, by the way, anchoring the whole thing is Hank Paulson. So, it's not. We're not talking tier 2 ships here, people.
Right. It that sounds awesome. I can't wait to. I heard really good. Isn't Is Zachary Quinto's in that too, right? No, he's in the other one.
Topher Grace.
Yeah, that's it.
Topher Grace is great as the Treasury Chief of Staff.
Cool. So back to the people complaining about the subscription series. To kind of back up my what do I call that? My opinion, my prophecy. My prophecy.
Prediction.
My prediction. Thank you. I was going to say, where's the right word? That this is the way alt entertainment is going to be given to us, and that I think network TV as we know it, and even cable as we know it, is going to be dead in 10 years. To back that claim up is the article I just posted into the chat room, which explains that Disney is doing the exact same thing. We do know that Disney has set into motion a contract with Netflix to produce at least 5 or 6 Disney-owned IPs. Now, it kind of doesn't even include the Marvel stuff, which is 4 unique original series based on 4. What?
Did you see my breakdown on Friday, waiting for Jessica Jones?
No.
Yes.
I know, poor Mike. I was just like, why can't it fucking be on now? I want it now. I want Jessica Jones now. I'm so excited for that series.
Mm-hmm.
One of the
Daredevil was so good.
And see, but this is it. This is how we're going to be getting our entertainment. And one of the paragraphs, or one of the secret, or the paragraphs in this article about Disney is this: linear TV is on its last legs. Disney is in an interesting position because it has interests in so many different mediums of transmission. It owns ABC, which is one of the major networks, and still derives most of its revenue from a traditional commercial advertising model. It also owns most of ESPN and the juicy carriage feels that come along with cable TV. At the same time, its CEO, Bob Iger, realizing that the shift away from linear television is happening sooner rather than later. There will be more multi-channel TV, and we will be part of it, Iger says, but the app experience offers many more layers and much more richness in content than a channel where one program follows another program. A world where apps on a set-top box largely replace linear television with its channels and time slots can be a good thing for both Disney and Netflix. The latter wants the revolution now and is completely focused on the shift to streaming. Disney, on the other hand, has a few more vested interests in the old ways of doing business and must be a bit more measured in its transition. But as you can tell just from this article, the transition is a given. It's a given. This is
Terry,
how we are going to get it.
Do you think advertisers are prepared?
Yes, I think they can't wait. And here's the reason why. How do advertisers base the cost of their ads now?
The Nielsen's, the ratings.
The ratings, right? So the cost of creating...
Which a lot of people can argue are inaccurate.
Yes.
Does not represent...
Well, they are.
Yeah.
They are. But here's the thing. Nielsen's only come into play after the cost of productions have been spent.
Yes.
So in order for a show to make money, it has to put up a shitload of capital first, and then
go ahead.
And then be successful enough to the point where it can draw enough money from the advertisers to cover the cost of what had already been spent.
Which is why when people are talking about the how much was it? Was it actually? How much was it last year for a Super Bowl ad? 12 million? Do you remember?
Crazy like that.
It was
because one, they know it's going to be the most watched show of the year and get the most eyeballs. But two, because like you were just saying about the success of it, but they have to kind of look ahead to what it's going to be,
right?
Which is different than a scripted show, like like a law.
Okay, according to Syracuse.com, they said that Super Bowl 30-second advertisement in 2015 was a cool $4.5 million, an average of $150,000 per second. Contrast this to 1967, when the commercials cost $42,000.
But even still, back then, that was crazy expensive.
Yeah, that was serious cabbage.
Yeah, serious. And in the new way of how we're going to start seeing is actually going to be much more advantageous for an advertiser. And that is because people are going to be subscribing to a channel or to a streaming service like CBS All Access, Netflix, or others. Yeah, like I even subscribe to one for I subscribe to one now for Major League Baseball. I pay $125 a year, but I get every single baseball game and every single spring training game. So I subscribe to that. I don't need ESPN for baseball. I go straight to my iPad. Yeah, I know.
Janet, what did you say? It was 42,000
in 60? Yes. Yeah, and so the fact of the matter is, we're going to be investing in a channel like we do with HBO, where we pay a subscription because part of our sub to a cable channel goes to HBO. HBO takes all that money ahead of time, says, "Look, here's our capital." Creates the show, and then they'll be able to advertise it. Now, HBO doesn't need to advertise because they're on cable and they're getting the sub regardless. But the fact of the matter is, I don't think that there's a public company out there who's going to be dumb enough not to sell advertising and say, here's this particular show. You can wait to see how successful it's going to be, and then we'll start selling you ads.
Just so people know, $42,000 in 1967 would be $300,000 today.
Okay. Wow.
It should be mentioned that this Disney streaming service, it's going to be launched in the UK initially.
Yes.
And it's going to feature a lot of their back titles. So animated films from Pixar, Marvel, Lucas.
Love Bug? Are we gonna get a love?
I would think so. So it's gonna be interesting to see. And from what I understand, it's gonna be like 10 British pounds. So that's like $15 US. So it for a streaming service, this is like premium. Yeah. The premium version.
So I have this feeling that we're just going to end up with, in the future, most everybody's going to cut the quote unquote to cable, the linear channel services. What they're going to do is they're going to up the cost or they're going to up the broadband services that they're available in their area. Then they're going to subscribe to 5, maybe 10 of their choice services, of their streaming services, and that's what they're going to be watching. So I can imagine in the future that if you want news, you're going to subscribe to a news service. If you want sports, you're going to subscribe to the sport that you want to watch. I don't even think if ESPN survives a split, if NFL gets wise and says, oh my gosh, why aren't we keeping our own money? Why are we paying all of the CBS and all of these other places? Why don't we just get it directly from the consumer? Take out the middleman. I see NFL and NBA and all of those creating their own streaming services and just going straight to the consumer. I really do.
I don't know. The NFL's, they're kind of cash strapped at this point, so Well,
that's the whole thing. Can you imagine all that money up front?
I'm joking, Terry. They're one of the most profitable.
Well, that is true too. And
I want to mention real quick that I had my cell phone provider just announced a new service called Binge On, and through the streaming services that they support, and they support all the major ones and a few extras, there are no data fees or no data, it doesn't count against your data.
Oh, I've heard
and you
about
can
this.
stream as much as you want. And I was like, holy shit. Yes. So
that is
let me
awesome.
ask you forward. Let me ask you forward thinker something. If 20 years ago, Terry and Janet, because Mike, you were 6, I had said to you that it described binge watching and said that we're going to have the ability to just watch an entire season of a show in one weekend.
Why would anybody want to do that?
And then, first of all, it's only going to be 13 episodes. Blah, 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 blah. But you would have looked at me and said, "What? Are you out of your fucking mind?
Yeah,
Nobody's going to want to sit down like Mike just said.
Absolutely.
Nobody's going to sit down and do that. Or, okay, well, people are going to watch 4 episodes a night, 5 episodes. Nobody's going to have time to do that. What's the next evolution?
Behind all of this?
Because where does it go after binge watching? Just downloading it directly into our brains? Because really, isn't binge watching kind of like the last thing that you can really do?
No.
Because you can do it on any platform.
2040 is the extinction of television. That's where it goes.
But I mean for watching. Because Jessica Jones comes out Friday, I'm going to be binging. And
let's put it this way, Nick. In 30 years, you're going to call me and go, remember that time on the G&T show when we talked about?
But I
this
mean,
is it. This is it. This is how we're going to do. This is better than binge watching.
20 years ago, I could almost see binge watching because when stations had marathons.
Yeah.
Now, they weren't first run. They were like Star Trek or Emergency or Adam 12 or something like that.
Matt Anderson makes a good point. Binge watching started with DVD releases.
Mm-hmm.
But what's next? Where can it possibly go from binge watching?
It's too early
because
to say.
You can't watch it before it comes out. You know what I mean?
I think it'll end up being like Ed, right? Or whatever it was, where there's 24-hour.
Actually, I think the next step would be immersive. It would be
immersive.
You in the television show. That's the only place that it can go.
Yeah,
but then you're reduced to 1 episode at a time because you're getting a workout.
Exactly. And you can't skip over an episode. Oh, this one's not doing anything for me.
It's really changing how stories are told on television.
Yes.
Because even, if you think back, think about how were stories told in, say, the 70s, like Mary Tyler Moore or All in the Family. Very, very rarely you would see a 2-parter. Very rare.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, it was just, there was virtually no carryover except for the very basic premise that she was working in the newsroom or he worked at the plant or even that he was laid off. They actually had a little bit of a mini arc in All in the Family where Archie was on strike and he was sort of laid off and stuff, but it didn't really kind of go from week to week. Now everything goes from week to week to week, that there's a connection. Even watching a much more traditionally put together series like The Big Bang Theory, there is still a connection from there's there's a continuity connection that Raj is still dating the same woman, or that that there's the story arc of Penny and Leonard's relationship. That there's the story arc of Bernadette and Howard's marriage, or of the death of his mother, and you have these, and this is a fluffy kind of throwaway show, but you've still got continuity, and it's because of binge watching.
Right, that's exactly right.
And I think audience.
I would also have to say reruns, because I didn't get into Big Bang Theory until it was on TBS.
Well, and that was one of the things against the continuity, was because of reruns. They didn't want somebody tuning in on a Wednesday afternoon, and it's like season 3, episode 10, and then the next episode in syndication, season 5, episode 3, where there are all kinds of continuity. So that's why Gilligan and the crew were idiots every week and never learned.
Right.
Yeah, they didn't see it as that ever happening. Whereas now, I mean, and we've also had, we have sort of continuity. I don't even want to say issues, but just the reality of television, where you have a character, where an actor dies or has to be replaced because the contract negotiation didn't work out, and so there has to be something which sort of connects that, because otherwise you're quite. I mean, they joked about this on Roseanne, where they put in Sarah Rue, I think it was, for one season as Becky, and they even joked about it that, oh man, you look different this week. I wonder why. Yeah, it was a good breaking of the fourth wall. It was a very smart breaking of the fourth wall. But you kind of can't do that now without some form of continuity, something putting it together and giving the audience some sort of a clue, because it's awfully jarring, particularly when you're watching 16 episodes or whatever in one shot, and suddenly in episode 13, the character's no longer Asian.
Going from Dick Sargent to Dick York on on
Bewitched.
My two dicks. Oh yes, they're my two dicks.
One of the things
never. You're right. Never. The only show that ever did that was, it would be jarring. Wow. Back when I watched General Hospital during the Luke and Laura days, like when an actor would get sick, and it would be like, the role of Laura today is being played by Terry Schultz.
Yeah.
At the very beginning, remember when they would do that? Like when the character first came in, and you were like, what? And then you, like, for one day, you had to be used to this actor playing, and you talk about immersive. Now, there's a great example. Soap operas were immersive, have always been immersive, because you have to care about the characters. Otherwise, it's just stupidity. Well, it is, but you know what I mean.
Right.
But
that adds a dimension to it.
Yeah.
Yep.
They had to be part of your family. I'm watching my stories.
Well, here's the other thing I think that people don't realize is I'm actually really looking forward to the evolution to this new form of entertainment. And the reason is because I think it's going to provide a lot more work to a lot more actors, a lot more work to a lot more people in the entertainment industry. And the reason why is because the competition's about to heat up, and they're going to need original content, guys. So we're going to start seeing a lot more scripted shows. We're going to see a lot more filming. We're going to see a lot more television, to be honest, because all of a sudden,
as the number of subscription services increase, the competition for viewers' dollars for subscribers is going to force the price down for a lot of these. Right now Netflix is $8 or $9 a month or whatever it is.
Right.
A few years from now, when there's
could be 5,
1,000 other streaming services available, it's going to be like $4.
Now, I think I framed my question wrong. I don't mean how it's going to be presented, as in like virtual reality or anything, but I think what I meant was binge watching. You can only watch so many shows in a day, because it's only 24 hours. So is there an evolution beyond binge watching as far as that goes? You see what I mean? Is binge watching
it's called The Matrix.
Yeah, that's
binge watch 2 shows at the same time.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be a little bit. The one thing that humans really love with their storytelling is the need to feel like they need to come back. So
I know Kung Fu.
It's gonna be
what?
The Matrix.
Oh my
You
god!
jack in and
I've never seen The Matrix.
Really?
I haven't either.
Yeah. That's okay.
All right.
I had a friend.
remedial.
I'm hurt. I'm just.
I
hurt.
had a friend give me the stink eye this week because I still haven't seen Harry Potter or read Harry Potter.
Yeah, well, we're gonna be. We'll read.
Neither have I.
We will.
No.
Read. Oh god.
Nope.
You haven't read them?
Nope.
Just read them. Just read
Nope.
them.
Nope.
And
What? The only reason no, I don't want to say that because they were so young. I was going to say the only reason I would watch is because of Emma Watson, but wasn't she like 10 when they started? So that becomes creepy.
Something like that.
so
we have
the
more news.
yeah, and we still have to talk about our thing. So let's get
Yes.
to it.
What's new in the Star Trek universe? General news.
Clean it up. Finish it up, Mike.
Let's see. I'll just give the head. I'll just give the headlines and just go through some of it quickly because some of it, the headline explains it all. Doctor Who Stephen Moffat. He's open to a Star Trek crossover. However, he has some conditions, and the condition is TOS only. Let's see.
Oh no.
I know, but Trek crossovers have worked in the past with TNG and whatnot, but we'll see, especially in comic books. Let's see. A fan creates a working phaser.
I saw that. That was pretty.
That's
trippy.
pretty cool. Balloons are quaking in fear. Balloons everywhere are quaking in fear. And I think the security officers at the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade, they're going to be on the lookout. So
Yeah, no kidding.
check your phasers.
Yeah, the working phaser is also. I saw another one where a person had a working Type 2
Yeah, Type
rifle.
2. Yeah.
No, the rifle.
Yes.
Did you see the hand one?
Yeah. Well, I
Okay,
have
it's
the
the
link
same
for
one.
I have the link for the hand phaser, but I have seen the larger one as well.
Okay. Yeah, essentially it's just a huge, crazy laser pointer.
Yeah, but it's a high-powered laser. It can damage your eyes, so you have to be careful. But
Right.
but I thought that was kind of cool. You can
It is
actually
cool.
see it, and yeah.
What else?
Gaming news.
I want to play a Star Trek game. Gaming news.
Oh God, son, we actually do need to talk about this. Great, go for it.
I'm fucking addicted to the goddamn fucking Admiralty system.
I am too.
Okay, I just want to say this. When you start with an initial where everything needs 100 and then you go in and it's like because of the fucking whatever that I don't
hate
understand
that part.
and it's all 200s, I'm like, stop it. Stop with your bad self.
Yeah, I hate that. It's like false
here,
advertising.
I have a photo for you guys.
It is exactly, Mike.
I have-
exactly.
I
Because
have
you
a
start
photo.
planning in your head, right? Okay,
Yeah,
I know I
I
have
can
this
use
shit.
that ship, or I can go with
And then you go
this
in and it's like-
combination.
Yeah.
All right, I
Next
have
thing you know,
to
it's
show
like,
you. I have to show you this photo that I took because I could not stop laughing about it. Where's Admiralty? Hard to read. Hit fix.
Well, while Terry's looking... Okay,
go ahead. No.
While Terry's putting that up, I'm going to say I do have one small, minor complaint about this system. When my DOPs come back from a mission, they don't have to wait to go back out on another one. I can send them back. I think it should be the same with the ships, because this 12-hour cooldown time is bullshit.
Well, it should only be like if there's like a fail or something like that.
Yes.
But it seems like there's a lot of downtime. It's like after every mission, it's like, okay, not every mission is going to be combat heavy and your ship's going to be damaged and require, a whole new retrofit or repair in the, so it's like some of that should be used sparingly.
All right. So
Yeah,
here's
Like
I posted-
transporting an ambassador should not need a 12-hour cooldown.
Well, it depends on the ship that you used. If
Okay,
it's
an Odyssey?
yeah, it depends. That's what the timer is based on. The higher
Right.
quality
Purple.
ship
But this
you
is what I'm
use,
saying.
The longer the cooldown time.
If all you're doing is transporting somebody somewhere, so my DOF can go out on a 72-hour mission, come
What
back,
he's-
and be sent
what
right
he's-
back out.
What he's suggesting
my-
is that there should be a modifier attached to the mission itself that will either increase or decrease what the
There
ship
is
is
on
using.
your ship. If you notice, on the picture that I just posted, which is a hilarious fail that just happened to me. I rarely fail my missions because I usually always am able to come up with the numbers. But in this particular one, I was 6 points short in tactical, and I still failed. It was a 99% or a 98%.
That pisses me off when that happens.
Yeah.
But if you will notice that the Ferengi Nandi warship and the Kabali Samsar that I used in this particular mission both had a percentage reduction in their maintenance times.
Right, but when you're scanning
what I'm
star,
suggesting,
it should not still be a 12-hour.
What I'm suggesting is instead of having also a modifier for repair attached to the mission. So, for instance, if the mission is not going to require any kind of combat at all, then it should reduce your repair time because you're not going to be needing repair or maintenance.
Because then why aren't we in the game having to go to dry dock or go to repair after every mission?
Well, here's the thing, because people are more resilient than machines. I don't know. Sorry, I got logical on you.
It just seems like it's still missing. It needs to be fine tuned, at least on the repair maintenance side.
Yeah,
maybe there might be, but as you can tell, I mean, just on that one, I had in this particular case, I had just collected all of my rewards on that particular loss. That wasn't a reward, but even still. I had 20 ships in maintenance, which still left me 24 available. I haven't had a shortage of ships, to be honest with you. What I haven't either. I have had a shortage of ships with big old numbers.
Yes.
So I
have 74 ships.
I had it was Patrol Corps Systems, which is all low.
Yes.
So I sent out 2 shuttles and my TOS era Constellation class.
Nice.
And it covered it. And those are all 4 and 5 across the board.
And they have low maintenance times because they're
very
not
low.
very rare
But
ships.
the problem is, it's 5 days before the next one comes up in the queue that is that low to do. I was just giggling because I sent out the 3 lowest ships.
I'll tell you, the only other thing that's going to need a tweak, and I'm going to be real, is the cost of dry dock slots.
Yeah.
They're too expensive for it. I think 400 Zen for 2 slots or for 5 slots is too high. I think it should be 10. I think you should get 10 slots for that. Because if you're able to purchase up to 500 slots for dry dock,
yeah.
400 Zen for 5 of them is way too expensive. I'm thinking that's just not going to be. I'm not gonna purchase any. I'm just not gonna. There's a price point. I have so many alts that I need dry dock slots for. I'm not going to be paying that much money to increase their dry dock capabilities until that price drops because it's stupid. It's stupid high. I love you guys at Cryptic, but that's stupid. That's stupid high. So yeah, I'm going to be doing the Admiralty system on 3 of my 29 or 25 alts.
But don't get me wrong, Cryptic. I give the Admiralty system an A.
It's awesome. It's very
I'm
fun.
enjoying it.
Hey, how much longer is this event going on? The Mirror Incursion event?
I hope for another week or so, but I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I think another week.
I'm sure.
It started.
Oh, so it only started this week?
It started like a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't miss. Okay, I didn't miss. Okay.
Some other Stowe news. There's been a new post-war era blog, A Single Step. So check that out. Stowe Pop Culture Hero Coalition fundraiser on Groupies is ongoing.
That was huge.
I got it. Yep, I donated 10.
So did I. Huge. Thanks you. And by the way, thank you two for helping out with. I'm so glad that you got to speak with Chase.
And I was actually coherent.
He really was. He didn't stammer or anything. It was funny because did you listen to it, Terry?
I have not had a chance to yet.
I started out by saying, because it was during Flash, and I said, and we tied it in that she was on Flash, and she was like, "Oh, you really should be watching Flash."
Oh, that's sweet.
So they still
So-
have a bunch of bundles that's still available, so that you can still
Oh, they do
contribute.
good, but the ships are gone, right?
The tier 6 ships
the
are
tier
gone.
6 ships are gone, but you can still
I came
get
home from work lunch because it started at 1:00.
and
Thursday
it
our
was
time.
selling out fast.
Yeah.
And when I got to the house, when I logged on at like 1:05, already in the triple digits were already gone.
Yeah.
8 minutes in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can still get your Admiral Lita bridge officer, and of course, there's
I think she sold out too.
no. Everyone gets one.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It only started once you hit 25,000.
Okay. My problem with that is I'm out of bridge officer slots.
Yeah, I know. Me
You can buy more.
right
No,
now.
there's a limit as to how many
Jesus.
you can buy.
Well, start discharging.
I
Yeah,
can't.
right?
I'm not going to. I mean, that's all my specialty bridge officers.
I was going to say all the ones that
Oh.
you get when you from missions and stuff is how is
Yeah.
basically what I have at this point. That and my originals.
Mm.
Because think about it, Mike, you've got the
the Jem'Hadar, the Kobali.
Well, the original ones aren't.
Orion, the
The
EMH.
originals weren't all that great.
Yeah, but I've had them for so long. There's no fucking
Yeah.
way I'm discharged.
I've
They're
trained them all.
family. They're family.
They
They
are
are.
family. They are family.
My Andorian female, my first officer. There's no other. It's very much that.
My Breen
She's number
tactical
one.
officer
Yeah.
kicks some serious ass. I'm just saying.
Oh, they sold out of the runabouts, the mirrored runabouts.
Wow.
And I didn't even think you could sell out of those. Wow.
So
Interesting.
yay, cool.
And
we
then
really
finally,
do. Yeah.
Oh, final bit of Stowe news is they are planning on improving the trait system and adding a bunch more new traits.
Yes.
They're going to split them into ground and space, and then they're adding like 4 new ground. No, they're adding 4 on the ground. I think it's something like 14 or something on the space side. New
So it's
traits.
9 on the ground and 14 in space.
Huh?
I'm
Oh,
watching
God,
the
he's
I
doing
watched
math.
the Triple Test server chat, and they're saying there's 9 ground traits now.
Hold on. It lists them all in the article,
Hey, Mike,
which
I
I
finally
cannot share.
this week I had to call Terry because I had a question. I finally am done with one specialization tree.
Right on.
Yay.
I'm done with the pilot specialization tree.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Yay.
And and now the command one's not going to take as long because there's not as many.
Right.
Yeah.
That pilot one has a lot.
It did.
There
It
are
really does.
4 new ground traits according to the article, and 14 new space traits. And you'll be able to slot it varies by character. For instance, aliens, they'll have 9 to 10 for both sections of traits that you can slot. So it depends on what character you're playing, what their species are. About how many
because they
traits.
have pre-assigned.
Pre-existing
Yeah,
traits, yeah.
Pre-existing traits, right.
So it will vary on what you can actually slot into them, but they are adding all these new traits, and they're splitting up the personal traits into space and ground, so that way there's more variety, even more variety between characters. So this should be interesting.
Okay, I have a question for you guys.
All right.
My away team is set. It's the other 4 are set. I've got them exactly where I want them. You know what I mean? But I kind of want to put the Admiral Lita onto my away team.
Uh-huh.
But doing that, I'm not sure who, because I've already got my assimilated Romulan
Oh, who
medical
to give up?
officer. Yeah, my assimilated Romulan medical officer is my scientist, my medical.
Well, she's tactical anyway, so
No, she's intelligence, and it's science.
the Lita?
Mine says science.
Mine says tactical.
Oh, really quick timelines. Captain Janeway, Coffee in that Nebula variant. They released a blog with points of interest, and some of them are actually kind of cool, like Cold Station 12. That was kind of cool. And there's a CMO Crusher that they've announced. So okay, timelines done.
So, a question about the specializations. Once I finish command, can you just fill in the other ones and assign those to bridge officers? Because there's 4 specializations, but you can only have primary and an alternate, right?
Correct. Those are for
But
the
let's
captains, right?
let's say I filled out commando. I could
Yeah.
then give one of my away team that, correct?
You have it's
And
part
train
of the
them up
R&D
in that?
It's part of the R&D system.
Right. But that's what I
Yes.
mean is, so I can, once I finish Command, I can then do Commando, and like my Photonic Mako is on my OA team. I can then like do Commando and give him those. That
I'm not sure how that works. I think
You know how to upgrade your characters. You know, swap out different skills
Yeah,
and abilities. Same thing.
But what I'm
you
saying is, once I
but you have
filled
to-
out my primary and my alternate specializations,
then you get
I
to
can
choose
just fill out
between
the
them for
rest, right?
yourself.
as you progress through the specialization, you get the ability to craft that thing that you unlocked.
No,
That
I
skill to
understand that. What
train.
I'm saying is,
That
once
skill
I
to
finish
train to your
Command,
Bridge
I can then fill out Commando, right?
Correct.
I don't have
but
to.
that's
Okay.
only for the but that's only for you. So you have to choose between which specialization you're going to use at any given time. So you
No,
can
I
make-
know,
But
but I
once
can
that's
also
only for you.
assign. I can also assign a specialization to a bridge officer.
But not all of those
not a
traits
sign.
that you've earned.
You can train,
Train
and
Right.
you have to craft the
the
skills.
training manual.
But
Right.
you can only craft the ones that you've already unlocked.
But you can't assign a primary or a secondary to a bridge officer.
you can train them in everything if you want,
Yeah.
but you have to do it one at a time. You know,
Right.
each one at a time, and blah
so
blah blah.
yeah. But when you're talking about a whole list of them, right? So you're talking about when you go primary or secondary, it's using all of those passives for your captain.
No, I'm not talking about my captain. I'm talking about my Photonic Mako.
Right. I don't understand what you're saying then, because
All right.
you can't assign. All you can
My
do
pi-
is train
my,
them in
my,
skills.
my primary is pilot.
Correct. No,
my
no.
secondary-
When you say primary for your captain, is for your
Right.
captain.
So, but what I'm saying, as I keep filling up and getting congratulations, Admiral, every
Yes.
time I go through the thing,
Right.
Once I finish, I can go until all 4 trees are all filled out
Correct.
all the way, right?
But,
Okay.
Yes.
but you,
That's all I was asking.
oh, yes. You can fill them up, and what
It
they
doesn't.
end up
It
being
doesn't
is
block you from filling the other ones out.
correct.
Okay. That's
As a
what I
matter
was
of
trying to
fact,
get
that's
to.
the goal. Mike has them all filled. Mike's
Yes,
done.
I do. I'm
Christ,
done.
Mike, we got to get you a girl.
I have 15 specialization points at last time I
Jesus.
looked
Oh my God! Too bad you
That
can't
he
sell
can't
those.
spend.
that I can't spend.
See, too bad you can't turn them in for dilithium.
You can, can't you?
No, not that I'm aware of. I mean, I still have 250,000 dilithium, raw dilithium to still,
All right, you guys.
convert.
Seriously, we have 15 minutes.
Yeah.
We want to talk about the thing we started, and I want to make sure we stay.
God
on.
damn it! We actually were talking about stuff we normally blow through.
I know. It's so true. It's so true. So let's get to 50 for 50.
What's your favorite episode? GNT shows 50 for 50.
Yay! And this is why we have Jespo with us today. The poor thing's been quiet in a corner and everything.
A quiet lawyer.
I'm doing
would
crossword
be
puzzles.
afraid.
Are you?
Can you do Sudoku?
So last week,
And I'm writing you into my novel.
last week we announced that the GNT show has started to do its new project called 50 for 50, wherein we had taken a poll over the past few months from our listeners and everybody on social media who took wonderful polls that were created by Kojiro, and we came up with the top 50 Star Trek episodes as voted on by you, our listeners. We are going to be discussing those.
If you disagree with the list, you only have yourselves to blame.
You only have yourselves to blame. That's right.
You had your chance.
So it's a very unusual poll in that it really did take into consideration how well you thought of each individual episode, as opposed to just, this was picking out a choice few. We actually forced you to kind of vote on every single episode ever created, all 700 and some odd. So thanks for everybody's work in getting all of that information to us. And last week we announced that today we would be talking about episodes number 50 and episode number 49. Episode number 50 was the Pegasus. TNG episode season 7 episode 12, and number 49, which was Star Trek Enterprise season 3 episode 8 Twilight. So welcome, Jespa, to 50 for 50.
Thank you.
And I know that we're going to be having some fun talking about. So let's get to it. Number 50, the Pegasus. This was the episode, for those who may not remind you or may not remember. The Pegasus is probably the first time we really get to see some backstory with regards to Riker.
Not really, but not really the first time, because we hear
the dad thing in one.
And I've developed a theory about why Riker is so hesitant to jump ship, to take command of a ship of his own.
Because Jonathan Frakes had a contract?
No.
Go for it, Mike. I want to hear your theory.
Okay, so the two main episodes that we've seen his dad, or we've seen Riker in, is the one where we get backstory about him is with his dad, and then with this one, and it's like, okay, so his dad was an asshole. This what's this captain's name, or this admiral? Pressman. He's an asshole. It's like all of his commanding officers, everyone in his life has been an asshole. Okay, so it's like he finally gets on a ship where he's not surrounded by assholes.
You're telling me that Riker has daddy issues?
Yeah, and so he decides to stay on the Enterprise.
With mommy or daddy issues?
He stays first officer of the Enterprise, not because it's the Enterprise and he wants. It's because
with his father, Picard.
Because Picard is the dad he always wanted.
Yeah.
Because Picard isn't an asshole.
And now
that's my theory.
Some of that slash is just taken on an ugly turn.
Oh, actually, one of my favorite slash pieces happens to be a Riker Pressman.
Well, let me just say this about
which also explains why Riker is so against
the
Jellicoe.
eye roll that Alan just gave me was hilarious.
I'm a little shell-shocked.
Don't start on Jellicoe.
Hey, I'm not starting on Jellicoe. I'm just saying it kind of also lends to the reason why he doesn't like him, why he's so whiny about him.
Terry, Janice watched Change of Command for the first time this week, and we kind of got in a yelling match because she didn't like Jellicoe, and she's very wrong about Jellicoe. Very wrong.
I have to admit, the first time I watched those, we'll talk about the no Change.
Yeah, when we get to Change of Command,
we'll be talking about that.
Now, I am not a big fan of the Pegasus.
Okay.
One, because we're in season 7. Really, another admiral?
Another bad admiral.
Another bad admiral.
It was
please. But he wasn't a bad admiral at the time he did the Pegasus. He was just a bad captain.
Yes.
It's like the only good captains ever are the captains of the Enterprise. Everyone else is batshit crazy.
Except for Jellicoe.
But you know what no.
He's in command of Enterprise at one point. Yeah. But at least this one had Romulans, which I'm sure Nick was happy about.
Yes.
And they had the idea of the story was the Federation illegally tried to develop its own phasing cloaking device, which was against the Treaty of Algernon.
And that's another thing.
Yeah, Algernon.
That's another thing about this episode. I cannot understand. Could you imagine if the United States signed a treaty that said, "Okay, Russia, you can have nuclear weapons, but we can't."
Right, I know.
No.
Technically it's weird.
I know, but it's the way that it's set, so just deal with it.
I love the Romulans in this one because they're like, "Oh, we're here to offer assistance should you need us." Okay, thanks, Snappy.
Yesterday was the first time I ever watched this.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Oh,
yeah.
Tell
really.
us. Tell us.
more.
Okay, I will put on mute so I can listen.
Oh, thank you. So it's funny because I had asked.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
We have our own little chat that we do during the week. We have our little meetings, and I asked if TATV was good enough, and I was told no.
These are the voyages.
But thank you. No, it's so some of it I'm looking at from that perspective of having watched TATV and not this.
Right.
First thing I got to say, Captain Picard Day, what fucking stupidity.
Please continue.
I realize that they wanted something light in an otherwise heavy episode, but it wasted time. which they could have used for other things. I thought that Picard getting a copy of that report after it had been suppressed for 12 years, it was like, oh yeah, by the way, we'll give you this report. That made no sense whatsoever. Use some of that happy Picard Day crap time and use it to show him being frustrated and being turned away and having to really call in favors. I also would have really, really loved it if
I see what you're saying.
Riker
Okay.
if Riker had to actively out and out lie to him, because he doesn't. He
No.
sort of evades or he doesn't say something, but he never lies to him. It would have made it, I think, a much more heavy, powerful ethical conundrum if he's asked, is everything okay? And Riker says, yes, sir, everything's fine. And it's an out and out bald-faced lie.
Kind of like the Enterprise incident where they lied about Kirk going insane.
Yeah, everything's just, it's too quick. It's too quick.
Yeah.
And the other thing is at the very end, it's too quick. He's just, they sort of shrug and then they walk out of the brig. That makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
Is there any follow-up to this?
Except,
these are the voyages.
Except for these are the voyages, no. And that's why this episode in particular becomes probably one of my biggest plot bunnies for much of my fan fiction.
It makes sense. Why there should be a hearing.
Yeah.
There's a hearing.
Boy, I tell you about. I even go into the hearing.
And of course there should be. People fucking died.
The court martial. The court martial on this one is really, really interesting.
Well, because the other part of this is, when Riker says, I picked up a phaser and I defended my captain, how long was that phaser on stun? When did Pressman say to this young ensign who was willing to, do whatever he wanted for his hero captain, when did Pressman say to him, this isn't working, we got to get to those escape pods, you're going to die otherwise, you better switch that thing to kill. And if Riker had killed somebody behind him who was trying to get into an escape pod, which is, by the way I see mirror universe ships as it happening if they have to get to escape pods, I think people kill each other for those. And to have had something like that happening on the Pegasus, I think would have been really, really powerful for Riker to be saying either to Picard or to Troy or maybe to both of them, saying, I've suppressed this for over a decade. I killed Ensign Smith because she was trying to get into an escape pod and I've seen her face in my dreams and I feel horribly guilty.
Interesting. See how this happens? Mm-hmm. See how plot bunnies work? It's just
Plot bunny.
Plot bunny.
But
go ahead.
It's a well done episode. It's just you're right about but again, we talked earlier about the non about just going from week to week because they didn't want in syndication and reruns people to be tuning in and then to them talking about the Pegasus and you're like, what's the Pegasus?
Yeah, it was also at the time when things started to kind of change a little bit, right? We're at the tail end of TNG when we're actually starting to see characters grow. We don't really get to see that in the first 4.5 seasons of TNG. And DS9 gets to have that all the time. The characters start somewhere and end up in a completely different place. Yeah. We didn't get that in TNG until after Jean died, let's face it. So when Jean died, they started to make the characters much more interesting. So they decided to give Riker this background, which personally I loved because all of a sudden it's like, oh, fuck, he isn't perfect. And boy, did he fuck up.
By the way, did you see Janice's comment, Sweet Terry, about Riker?
No.
She's not a big fan, and every time she sees him, she expects to see him scratching his balls.
Oh, I did see that, yeah. That cracked Yeah. But I have to say, I
I'm with
think
you,
that's
Janice.
when I really started to find the character interesting. Not unlike Ward was, right? In the first couple of episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you were like, oh my God, what is with this guy? It was kind of pasty and he was just, and all of a sudden you find out he's evil and he becomes like totally interesting. That's where this is
Fucking
where
hate Ward.
this is where the Pegasus is where my absolute adoration of the character came from. It has everything to deal with. I wanted to know more about his character and how he grew from that complete and utter fuck up in the Pegasus to becoming the first officer of the Enterprise. So how did he get from one place to the next?
I forget how much. What was the time span between the Pegasus incident and then this episode?
Like 15 years.
Yeah, that's something that bugs me in Star Trek too. And I'm sorry, just a little thing. You don't go from a fresh-faced ensign to exec of the flagship in 15 years.
Why not? He went from the time of like age 21 to the time of age 36 or 37.
Terry, I can only go by my own experience.
How many commanders do you know are younger than 37?
This is what I'm saying. Normally, in the military, at 15 years, you're still only at the rank of like major or lieutenant commander. You're not, because you don't have all that experience to do that. I find it very hard to believe that after that incident, where like Janet is saying, he's phasering other crew members, that he's going to make rank that quick. There's not going to be some kind of
I know, but you all have to remember this is Star Trek we're talking about, and it's more like, I don't know, I see it more
something
as the Navy
someone's
than
a captain for
like
40
that.
years, right? And then in the Navy, you're not.
I know several commanders
years,
who are under the age of 35.
There's no way. I can guarantee you, unless they're in special forces, there is no way they're commanding or an XO of an aircraft carrier at below the age of 35. It doesn't happen because the system doesn't allow it.
Okay, so he was an ensign. He's an ensign at the time of the Pegasus, and he's pretty much straight out of the academy. And he ends up, so that's what we figure, probably by the age of 20 or 21. And at this particular point in time, because I'm such a Riker nerd, I think he's 38 or 39. He's 35 at the start of the show. So this is 6th season in.
Did they say that?
I know this from Memory Alpha.
That's
and the
right.
day he's born and everything.
And so Sun says he was trapped on the planet and made himself a clone. So, I mean, it's just, to me, it doesn't always match up is all I'm saying.
I know. So just deal with it. But that's where he is. But it's still, this is a period of time I really like to think about how does he deal with his stupidity and naivete in the Pegasus to the point
he goes onto the holodeck and talks to the crew of the original Enterprise.
Yep. That's exactly right.
There you go. It actually almost in a small way makes sense that there might be some counseling. There's definitely a counseling need here.
Oh yeah.
But the counseling need isn't just during the episode. The counseling need is for the dozen years or whatever before.
Absolutely. Yep.
Maybe that's why that's maybe how he met Deanna.
No. He meets Deanna in a different way that they talk about in the very first episode.
On Risa.
Yeah. No, he was supposed to meet her on Risa and never shows up. I
thought he was stationed on Risa.
No, he was stationed on Beta Z. He was a diplomatic.
I'm sorry, Beta Z. You're right.
So maybe that's why he ended up relating to Deanna, just because she was this counselor. She was someone that he could confide in.
They were fucking each other. Oh.
Well, there's always that. I'm sure that helps.
It was her warp nacelles.
It was her warp nacelles. That's right. All right. So, either way, the Pegasus, of course, ends up being a very pivotal episode for me personally, just because it's what drew me to what ends up being my favorite character in Star Trek. And the reason why I think that I am much more forgiving, we've already talked about These Are the Voyages, I think I can say with some clarity and conviction that These Are the Voyages does not end up on our 50 for 50.
Shocker!
Damn, spoil it.
Although I would put it on before Endgame, but that's a whole other.
We'll be talking about certain things like that in the future. We'll talk about some of the bottom dwellers, so to speak. But Janet, I wanted to kind of talk to you a little bit, saying I know as an Enterprise fan, and rightfully so, that TATV ends up being, of course, the one thing that's the burr. It's the thing that rubs everybody's fur in the wrong direction.
Definitely.
For a good reason, and that is because it ends up being a TNG episode more than an Enterprise episode. And I have my thoughts about how that could have been made much more appropriate. I love the idea of These Are the Voyages. I think the execution of it was wrong.
Yeah.
Very clumsy.
It was very, very clumsy. It felt like it was thrown together with good intent, but they missed the mark entirely. It's like personally, I think that the whole damn show should have been a 2-hour episode as opposed to a 1.
It should have been a 2-hour TNG episode.
No.
I think it should have been a 2-hour TNG episode.
I think what we needed to do was the reason the point was supposed to be Trip's sacrifice and what he did in disobeying direct orders. And that was what was supposed to inspire Riker to finally stand up to Pressman, regardless of his career, was to be able to relate to Trip's sacrifice. And we don't get that in TATD. We miss it.
Right.
And namely because the reason why Trip decides to break orders, which were flimsy enough at best, were stupid. It had to be far more real. It had to be far more in depth. And I need for Riker to be able to see why was his sacrifice so important and why the breach of order was so powerful. It had to be a bigger order than Trip don't do that.
Yeah, it's the connections sort of it's very flimsy.
I think that there had to be more risk than to that, and that his sacrifice needed to be that much higher because.
Then here, hold this cable.
Exactly. Thank you. So that's what was missed, and I think that giving it an additional hour of backstory as to the creation of the order to begin with, and showing Trip's constant uncomfort level, the level of comfort be starting to decline, and knowing full well that he needs to save his captain's reputation and the Federation's potential existence, the Coalition's potential existence, had to teeter on the breaching of that order. And it didn't. And that's where I felt that These Are the Voyages failed, and it would have been a better story for Enterprise, and that set off to the idea that the Coalition got to move forward specifically because one person did the right thing at the right time. And the right thing was actually breaching orders. So it would have made the Pegasus that much more special for me too.
Yeah, there's excuse me, there is a what Trip does. The villains are cardboard, and
yes.
It's just absurd. And you've never seen them before. You've never seen Tala before. All of this stuff suddenly just sort of gets flumped into your lap, and you say, okay, and then 6 years or 5 years have gone by, and which is why I started writing fan fiction and calling it In Between Days, because I wanted to capture that 6-year or whatever time period in between the end of the prior episode and TATV, that was actually going to be the bookends for what I was writing. And then I decided to start doing, prequels and sequels and whatnot because I like the characters too much. Mm-hmm. But be that as it may, I know, just like, you just keep going. It's indulgent after a while. But be that as it may, if the theft of the Tenebian amethyst, which is the premise of the problems of TATV, if that had been a direct threat to the beginning of the Coalition,
Yes.
If let's say the
kind of like
the
the
Andorians.
Vulcan,
Yes.
like the Vulcan arc with the was it the
Kishara.
yeah Kishara.
Yeah, I keep wanting to call that the Kishka, which is
The Kira. It's the Kira.
but anyway, if that had been something where the Andorians would have folded their blue arms and said,
With the babka.
screw you, we're not joining because you didn't help us do this, then then the stakes would have been much, much higher, and
Yep.
and also
Couldn't agree more.
if it had been acknowledged, if Jonathan Archer had said, we wouldn't be here if Trip hadn't sacrificed himself, because this was, look what happened here. This man died so that we could have a coalition, so that we could be here today. The least we can do is have a moment of silence for him and for and for Jane Taylor. And for and for Beth Cutler, for Liz Cutler, and for all of these other people, and Jay Hayes, and all these other people who gave their lives so that this mission could be completed and we could come back here and come here. This is the culmination of everything that those people sacrificed for, and that their lives ended so that our lives can begin together in one glittering, shining path going into the future. That we come together as not only a coalition and as an alliance, but as friends.
Right.
And if he had made a speech like that, and it doesn't have to be that specifically, but something like that,
yeah.
I would have said, "Hey, TATV, this is awesome. I'm fine with it. I'm cool with this." Instead, it was just slapped on.
And again, it still could have been handled in connection with the Pegasus in a way that it wasn't so overtly Riker-centric. It could have just been kind of like the just tiny little tidbits of him watching the historical records kind of thing. And just not even, seriously, just probably cut their time by 2/3 of the TNG time. And just having him, actually, I wouldn't have even thought of, it was nice to see Deanna kind of come in and be like that anchor, that counseling. I think I would have enjoyed it more if it had been like a personal log of him kind of trying to work through it by listening into what's going on. Was he necessary? Absolutely not. But I really loved the tie-in for it because it gave me, as a fan of both shows, that idea of it. So I thought it was the Pegasus is again going to be one of my favorite episodes because it was really the first time we got to see some negative background about a primary Star Trek character. We didn't even
there were some feet of clay.
Exactly. So the next episode we have to discuss, again along the lines of Star Trek Enterprise, is Twilight.
Now, for those that are not aware, this is the episode where Bella falls in love with the vampire, but she's up what? No?
Love you. I love you. Twilight episode, season 3, episode 8. We got to watch it again last night. Yay, Netflix. Although I own the DVDs, it's going to sound funny.
I was going to say.
Enterprise was the first Star Trek that we watched. We bought the entire DVD set for when I started to get back into Star Trek. Even though I was a big TNG fan first, when I went out and purchased, we had never seen Enterprise before. I think I watched all of 2, maybe 3 episodes when they were on first run. So I went out and bought all 4 seasons, and it ends up being my second favorite Star Trek behind TNG because I love it so very much. Twilight's a hell of an episode. The episode involves Archer, Captain Archer, saving the ship is kind of, it passes through a set of odd kind of subspacey anomalies, and he ends up saving T'Pol by pushing her out of the way after she kind of gets trapped. And he takes the full brunt of this anomaly, which ends up infecting him with a type of fungus. Fungus?
I thought it was a subspace parasite.
That's like
Parasite.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
And it takes away, for all intent and purposes, his ability to lay long-term memories. So he has what was...
short-term amnesia?
He truly just does not remember anything after the anomaly hits, really.
51st States of Star Trek, as Kojiro Van says.
Yeah, it's like Memento.
Actually, I was going to say Memento Trek.
Yeah, it's Memento Trek. And so he wakes up.
I liked 50 First Dates.
He wakes up on a colony of what remains of the human race because they failed to find the Xindi weapon, and the Xindi weapon takes out Earth and pretty much every other human-based colony. And the story is, or it's done in flashback, where T'Pol, who is now his caregiver, tries to explain to him pretty much on a daily basis what happened. And
talk about patience. The woman is a saint.
Oh, she's Vulcan, man. She's a guilty Vulcan on top of it.
Yeah.
All right. Go.
comparing the two stories, actually, I realized that there was one thing that they had in common. And it is that in both of them, people lie to protect someone.
Yes.
And in Twilight, T'Pol probably is lying to Jonathan every single day.
Yeah.
She doesn't necessarily mean to. It's not necessarily for her own expeditious reasons. Some of it is because she's trying to just be kind. Yeah. But she's probably not telling him that you're brain damaged. She's probably not saying that the first thing in the morning. Hi, you're brain damaged.
Hey, dopey.
Yeah,
that's 50 First Dates. Actually, your brain damage.
She's being kind. I mean, when you see her in that little sort of like module that they live in, she's wearing civilian clothes. She's wearing human civilian clothes. Yeah. She's got her hair done like a human. Right. She's absolutely. This is her home. This is her kitchen. She's making tea or whatever.
She's like the only Vulcan in this small group of like 6,000 people.
And she's just, kindly and patiently explaining, and she's playing again and again and again. But beyond that, she's also, she's not telling him every single little tiny bit because she couldn't possibly do that every time.
Right. She even tells him that in the episode. She says, "I don't tell you this." She goes, "I don't go into much detail every day."
I mean, how many times did they wake up in bed together in the morning and he looks at her and says, "Oh my God, I can't believe this happened."
She creeps out before he wakes up.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but long hair T'Pol for the win. Maybe Jolene Blaylock's best episode is T'Pol on many levels.
There's guilt, there's sorrow on what they could have been, there's probably a little bit of happiness on kind of what they are, that she sort of has this half loaf, even though she doesn't have everything, she doesn't really have him. She kind of has him in a way. I mean, when he asks
he's
her,
almost,
he says,
in a sense, he's almost her prisoner. If you really want to take it creepy.
I looked at it more in an Alzheimer's.
No, it's not.
Situation.
But yeah, I mean, I agree. There is an Alzheimer's aspect or parallel to it.
But there's tenderness there. I mean, he asks, he says, are we, and she sort of evades that, but it's pretty damn obvious. I mean, why is she there? Why didn't she just give him over to a professional caregiver? She doesn't do that. She does it herself.
And it started out as not guilt, but a debt for saving her, and then as the time goes on, I think she's as much a prisoner of being with him as he is being latched on to her, but he doesn't know it. She does. It's almost like she's become so attached to him through taking care of him that it's become her life.
And she's also had to probably satisfy Ponfar with him, even if they don't have a romantic relationship. Even if they didn't have a traditional romantic relationship, she's probably, had to do that and then how to explain that to him. But so she's lying to him in these ways.
That's no explanation needed. He wakes up, she jumps his bones, and he says, "Thank you." And then the best part is, that's like the ultimate, because the next day, there's no walk of shame involved. He doesn't know about it. And she's all good, filing her nails, drinking some coffee. Hey, what's up?
I have
Yeah,
something
and the
to tell
SETI
you.
Alpha 5, SETI Alpha 5 is absolutely that's heartbreaking too. That that even if the 6,000 or so humans survive, that they're going to be toasted
They're gonna be
in
toasted.
100 years. But the lying in the Pegasus obviously is a different story. Part of it is that Riker, at least in the beginning, trying to save his career, but it's also Pressman absolutely trying to save his skin. And
Yeah.
I can almost see writing a fan fiction not just about Riker's aftermath, but how about that little nugget in between of Pressman's life where he sweeps this under the rug, puts on a happy little smiley face and says, "Oh, and those people, they sacrifice themselves willingly and patriotically for the good of our state. Isn't this wonderful? Thank you, sir, for that medal. I'll take another."
Cardboard. The character was so cardboard that it'd be like, well, that's the cost of doing business. You know what I mean?
So you meant like Don Cheadle? Oh,
like who?
Nothing. Nothing.
Like who?
Nothing.
Don Cheadle?
No. We'll talk later. No. I promise I'm not going to do.
No.
So,
what do you,
no.
Say
no.
No.
I'm not.
You said it.
No.
Janet,
And
what did you say?
well, that's because I'm not going to say it. So I couldn't agree with you more. I think that the idea of that kind of lying and oh god, I love it so much. I love it so much. That lying to protect somebody, that lying to keep things kind of moving forward in that idea of what's supposed to be is such a powerful tool. We're talking about doing a fanfic on Twilight and kind of moving forward from there, or even doing a deeper exploration of Pressman, I guess you would say.
Who wrote
ahead, Mike.
Twilight? Do we have it?
Mike?
I remember the first time I watched this episode, and I remember thinking, oh boy, this is another one of those episodes where they, in the end we find out that the character was captured, and is being, psychologically manipulated or tortured in such a way. We've seen it to Riker, we've seen it to O'Brien, we've seen it countless times, and I was thinking, oh boy, I remember thinking this, boy, this is another one of those.
And then you find out they don't.
And then it takes that weird skew, and I was like, very cool. So
they still get to reset everything, and I thought it was kind of a clever way. I mean, us and time travel and
Braga.
It was a creative Braga moment. I admit it, but I got to see Phlox, and I love Phlox. And Phlox this totally takes one right in the face.
This is a Mike Sussman episode, by the way.
Do what? Oh,
Mike Sussman episode.
Oh, okay. Twilight is also a beautifully the set decoration, everything about it. It's a beautiful story visually as well as the story.
Yeah.
This is where they were really firing on some really good cylinders.
It was. I loved it. I loved this.
And it was long hair to Paul.
And not the least of which is it also anybody who's taking care of a loved one who's, say, older or may have like an Alzheimer's type of situation. It's very relatable because to Paul's character, her patience and her understanding and the strength that you see in that character of taking care of somebody that you love.
The trillium
and the pain,
that helps.
And the pain. So it was
just a bump every morning.
Yeah. So
they didn't talk about the Trillium Lab explosion, down the street.
She can't get cold medicine anymore.
Yeah.
That was an ID.
The Sudafed's is still locked up.
Sorry.
Oh no, it's great. But we talked a little bit. I told Janet, I said the Pegasus ends up being one of those things that I needed to also kind of delve into on a fan fiction level, to where I think one of my favorite pieces I ever wrote is and going along with the whole lying to protect someone is the piece, the several pieces that I wrote where in my fan fiction the Rikers have 3 kids, and the youngest decides that after she watches the historical records of the Locutus of Borg incident, right? She watches the historical records where she sees what she believes is like kind of like her grandfather figure, which is Picard. He turns into a Borg, and then she notices that, oh, gee, he kills a whole shitload of people, including children, Wolf 359. And she takes it one step further. She gets so pissed, she digs up everything and, of course, comes across the Pegasus. And let's just say she's none too kind with her father after that because she feels that he lied to her and kept things from her and didn't tell her. And he, of course, has to be put into that position again, which is, we didn't tell you because we don't, parents don't necessarily go back and dig up their history and say, here, this is how I fucked up. So I loved digging into that aspect of what do people who do these things, how do they deal with it with their kids? And chances are they just don't tell them. Every parent wants their child to think that they're awesome. So that was episode number 50 of the 50 for 50, Pegasus, and number 49, Enterprise, Season 3, Episode 8, Twilight. Next week, are you ready for the assignments, children?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm taking notes.
All right. Number 48 on the 50 for 50 is Star Trek Enterprise, Season 3, Episode 19, Damage.
Nice.
Ooh.
I know. I'm like all tingly. Number 47.
47, yeah!
Number 47 is Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 5, Episode 8, Unification Part 2.
Joel on fucking true.
So we'll talk about Unification Part 2 and Enterprise's Damage next week on our 50 for 50. We are going to be, we've come to the conclusion that if we come across a two-parter, we're only going to discuss that part.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So next week we will be discussing part 2. We won't be I'm sure we'll be touching on part 1, but it won't be the focus. All right. Mike, do we have any announcements, my dear?
I have something to say. Announcements.
I don't think so.
Yay.
What's the shipping status? I'm sure people are wondering.
They're still sitting on my floor.
Okay.
It's in my car. I've got to do it on Monday.
Oh, so it's
PF Dennis, I need your address so I can send you a book.
Oh,
I got his address. I posted in the document.
Send it to me.
I told you about it. Okay, never mind.
Oh,
No,
okay, good. I'm in space.
we have a document that none of us look at apparently. So yeah.
So we were talking about Alzheimer's?
Pressman says what?
Okay. Other than that, I can't think of anything.
Yeah.
Shout out Lisa Marie. Woo!
So this is the 15th. We will have a show next week, which will be episode 215. However, we will not be having an episode on Thanksgiving weekend, the 29th. So, but we may give you a double assignment for the 50 for 50. How's that?
Because that's what we said we were going to do.
Yep. But again, next week, Unification Part 2 and Damage. And that's kind of it. Until then, everybody.
And that doesn't mean there won't be new shows posted because Mikey's working his little Klingon fingers to the bone. He and Janet getting the 24 hours up. So there will still be content being posted, just not a live show for Thanksgiving weekend.
Right.
We could be dead for 4 weeks and you'd still get content.
Still be getting. That's true.
The world would end first, and then
the
content
GT
would
show
go
is
on.
still posting.
It would be like, a dead body, how the hair and the fingernails keep growing.
Yep. My only announcement.
Wait, we have to post.
My only announcement is technically we have ordered booths. I just haven't gotten confirmation on them yet.
Yay.
For the convention. And that's kind of it.
Mein Führer, I can walk. New episode posted.
Yes, I know
we're
what that's
getting
from.
punchy now.
Thank you.
Oh, we're only a half an hour over, folks, but whatever. Thank you for joining us.
It's Alan's fault.
I know, we love him. Episode 215 next week, you guys. We'll see you then. Live long and prosper.
Kapla.
Happy Sunday, folks.
Jolan True, bitches.
Music for the GNT show is provided by 5 Year Mission, Enterprise Blues Band, Warp 11, Andrew Allen, and Greth Thor. The GNT show is a BLB production.
Move ahead, walk back to 10. Put a mini skirt on my yo man. Represent the human race. And we make space a happy place. To boldly go where no man's gone before. I think I sang that line once before, but I'm not too sure. We'll be so happy, can't you see? A zero-G community. Gonna travel to new worlds. Beam on down and meet some green girls. Gonna see what we can see. A fancy-free galaxy. To boldly go where no man's gone before. I think I sang that line once before, but I'm not too sure. We'll be so happy, can't you see? A zero-G community. Come and take a tour with